What's going on? This is Blaine from Riff and Tone. Today I want to make a video for all the beginner guitar players out there, and I want to give 5 pieces of advice that I've learned over the years of playing, and that maybe can help you whenever you start. Because I know starting playing guitar is it's pretty difficult. You know, it takes a lot of time, a lot of practice. A lot of times you feel like you suck for a good while, and unfortunately for you, you're probably always going to feel like you suck. It's just kind of part of playing guitar. But, you know, I remember how rough it was. If you can't even play one chord, you know, it gets frustrating. So, and I've talked to a few people recently who told me, oh yeah, you know, I started playing guitar and, you know, I just didn't stick with it. And, you know, maybe some of these people could have been something special at guitar. You know, maybe they were able to write these really great things, but they never put the time into it to actually make that happen. So, you know, I just want to kind of make something to maybe influence you to say, okay, maybe I can stick with it and keep putting the time into it. Because, you know, the more good guitar players that are out there, the more good music it is to listen to. So, so anyways, the first one is extremely obvious, but it's practice. You know, I mean, I spent a lot of time practicing when I first started playing guitar. I still practice a lot to this day, and I've been playing for about 16 years. But I think when you first start, it's very beneficial to have somewhat of a regimented practice, you know, because the guitar is definitely something that's fun, but if you don't have the fundamentals down of how to move your fingers, how to change chords and whatnot, it's not too fun because it's very frustrating. So I would say spend maybe 15 minutes working on, right hand techniques, 15 minutes on pull-offs, hammer-ons, 15 minutes on, if you're playing metal, maybe chugging, you know, and breaking things up so that you spend a lot of time on these basic principles, or 15 minutes on changing chords, learning your chords. Okay, I'm going from C to D, C to D, and make sure you get each note perfect every time you're doing it. You know, it doesn't matter how fast you're doing anything, because you want to start slow with everything. Start slow until you get it right, and then you could build speed up from there. You know, but if you don't sit down and practice every single day, you're not going to gain these fundamental techniques to be able to play and have fun. You know, I really don't even remember how long it even takes to start feeling like you're getting somewhere. But I know if you put a good 6 months of, say you practice an hour a day for 6 months, you know, you really break down basic techniques for this time, in 6 months, you're going to be able to play some stuff, you know, and you're going to be way more developed. And from there, that's when the fun starts happening, because you say, okay, I kind of have somewhat of a base, and then you can kind of expand upon that. And then from then on, the rest of the time you play guitar, it's going to be fun. You know, it's not going to be as frustrating. Now, don't get me wrong. Still to this day, I learn solos and songs and stuff, and it kicks my ass, you know. But I have been playing so long, I know a lot of songs, so I don't get really as frustrated as I used to when you don't know nothing. So it's just very important to have a good practice regimen. And in time, you know, you might not have to spend as much time sitting there practicing each technique, and you can kind of just play freely. And just by doing that, it kind of works on developing your skills. So another thing that I would suggest is playing what you want to play, you know, because I know early on, you know, I'm a metal guy, and that's not everybody's thing. So early on, I was very influenced by other people to play other things, you know, play, you know, it's like your grandma wants to hear some Conway Twitty song or some shit. So, you know, and it's not fun if you're not playing what you want to play, you know, so don't be influenced by everyone else and what they want to hear. You know, you don't have to be the guy that goes to the party strumming the acoustic. You know, that's a lot of times that's what the girls like, but you got to play what you like. You know, I know unless you're in a big time band shredding, you know, chicks aren't all that into it for the most part. It's mostly guys that are giving you compliments, but that's what I want to do. I want to shred. I want to play what I want to play. So that's what I would suggest for you. Another thing too is when I first started playing, my parents bought me like a $200 guitar. It was a Fender, and they listened to some guy at Guitar Center because from day one I wanted to shred, you know. And this guy at Guitar Center said, yeah, you know, it's good to learn guitar on acoustic. And in some ways he's right, you know, because the strings are a little harder to manipulate. So if you can get things down on acoustic, you can learn your chords and whatnot. It's a little bit easier to play on electric. And I still use that to this day, to where I'll practice some stuff on the acoustic, because if I can get it clean on acoustic, I know on electric it's going to be easier. So he wasn't completely wrong, but guess what? I didn't want to play acoustic. I didn't want to play it. So that first year of guitar, I didn't even really play that much. I mean, I hardly played my acoustic when I first had it, because it's not what I wanted to play. And then a year later, I wound up getting electric, and that's when I started taking things serious and started playing a lot. You know, and in time, I kind of had more of an appreciation for acoustic, and I went back and kind of learned some things. But it just wasn't what I wanted, you know, and maybe I'd be a little bit better because I'd have a year more experience if I would have just got my electric from the jump. But, you know, I listened to other people and said, yeah, maybe I should learn acoustic. So the next thing that I would suggest is learn songs from artists that you're a fan of. You know, some of your favorite bands. I feel like that helped me tremendously develop my own style by learning songs. Specifically, if you can learn them by ear, it makes it even better, because then you're picking up notes and you're getting that ear training. But even if not, when you first start, learning's hard enough. So even if you have tabs or something like that, you go on YouTube and somebody teaches you how to play the song, because you get to see how these songs are formulated. You get to see the notes. You get to see where they're on the fretboard, what makes sense, you know. And for me, that really, really helped me. I spent a lot of time learning other people's songs, because it gets you better as well. While you learn these songs, say you want to learn a riff and you can't play it. Then the next day you try and play it. You get a little bit better. And in time, you learn this riff, and now you're like, okay, I got this riff down. So now you understand how the notes in the riff work, and you got the technique to play it, you know. And you might not play up to speed at first, so you can take your metronome, see what the song's at. Okay, it's at 160 beats per minute. Okay, I can't play it that fast, so let me go down to 100 beats per minute, and then you play it 100 beats per minute straight through. Awesome, I got that down. Move up, and eventually you can gain the speed to where you're up to speed with the song. And you know, if you do that with a bunch of songs, you're going to develop your skills that way, and you're going to develop an understanding of how to songwrite better too, you know. So another thing that I would suggest is having some peers and other musicians to play with, you know, guitar players specifically, because you can learn things from these people. You can jam with them. And I know me coming up, I had a bunch of friends that played music. I was fortunate enough to have that, and a lot of them were better than me at the time, you know. So for me, it was like, it was kind of some friendly competition, because I'd see somebody better than me. I'm like, okay, I need to keep practicing. I want to be better than him one day. But I'd also learn stuff from that person as well. So I would learn, and in time I'd practice, and eventually I'd see myself pass them up, you know. And then I'd kind of, it's like friendly competition, you know, because you're jamming and you learn from them. They're a friend, but you want to grow, you know. You want to grow and develop as a player. So that's with a guitar player, but I think also with other musicians, you know, if you have a friend who's a drummer or something like that, that really helps too, especially a drummer. And one of my best friends is a drummer, because then you understand how to feed off of someone else, you know, and you can it teaches you how to keep timing and stuff. So, because when I first started, I think the first couple of years, for some reason I had in my mind, I said, okay, I want to be the best guitar player that I can be before I start jamming with other people. And, you know, and I got pretty good, but then when I started jamming with other people, it kind of changes things a little bit, because you're not just playing in your room anymore. You're playing with other people, and you have to be in sync with them. And that's a skill in itself to learn, you know, to feed off of other people, especially if you're improvising and stuff like that. So I would suggest, don't do what I did. And as soon as you have somebody that you can jam with, get in there and jam with them, you know, because most of the time, really, unless you're playing in front of the camera by yourself, you're going to be jamming with other musicians. So it's a good skill to learn early on. If you start developing already playing with other musicians, you're a step ahead, you know. So the last piece of advice that I have is to not be so hard on yourself. You know, I think a lot of people, everyone when they first, well, 99.9% of people when they first start playing, they're gonna suck. You know, there's not much, there's no way around it. And there's always gonna be people better than you. That's one thing you cannot forget. I've been playing, like I said, about 16 years, and I see people who haven't even been on Earth for 16 years that play better than I play, you know? And it hurts on the inside, I'm not gonna lie. But I realize there's nothing I can practice more, but it's just what it is. You know, there's some people that are just, they literally are prodigies, you know, and they're just extremely good. It's just what it is. So you can't let it affect you. And that goes without not just like prodigies, because that's rare situations. Just if you're trying to make yourself better, don't be so hard on yourself, you know, because it's about you getting better and you progressing. So if you're having a bad day, which you're gonna have until the end of time, probably playing guitar, you're gonna have bad days to where you're just like, man, I'm not getting it. It's okay, you know. Keep going through whatever regiment you have, and you may not be on point, but if you stay consistent, you're gonna grow and you're gonna get better. That's just what it is. So that's one truth that you can always kind of count on. If I practice and play, I'm going to get better in time, you know? So don't be so here and now I suck. Look at it down the road, because you can be a guy or girl who quits today, and in 2 years you still have no skills, or you can just keep going with it, and in 2 years you're going to be much better. 100%. As long as you're practicing and doing some of the stuff that I told you, you're going to be better. So just look at it that way. Look at the long road. If you really want to play now, don't give up, you know, just keep on playing. So hopefully all that rambling, there's some good knowledge in there and things that you can take from and learn. If you have any questions or anything, feel free to shoot me a message. I'm always willing to try and help people who are just starting, or even people who've been playing for a while. If there's anything that I know, I'd like to pass it on, you know. So anyways, I appreciate the time, and have a good one. Keep practicing.